Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy visited Kupyansk while he was recording a video. Explosions could be heard in the background. My name is Albina Pidhirnyak. More news coming up.
I wish you health. Today the Kupyansk direction, our soldiers who achieve results for Ukraine here. Many Russians talked about Kupyansk. We see, there was, I congratulated the guys. I thank every unit, everyone who fights here, everyone who destroys the occupier. Today, it is extremely important to achieve results at the front so that Ukraine can achieve results in diplomacy. That's exactly how it works. All our strong positions inside the country, strong positions in the conversation about the end of the war. Thank you to every warrior. I'm proud of you. Thank you to all our ground forces. Today is exclusively your day. Thank you guys. Glory to Ukraine.
Remember how Putin many times invited foreign journalists to Kupyansk and Pokrovsk to show that the cities were supposedly captured. Now Russian propaganda media have deleted those videos with Putin from their platforms. Ukrainian drones hit one of the Russia's biggest oil refineries. Today there was a big fire in Yaroslavl.
Wow, it's burning there.
It's burning brightly, visible from afar. They hit it again, in the same place they hit it 3 months ago.
There was a fire at the mechanical plant in the Russian city of Orsk. Local telegram channels reported this. The plant produces equipment for Russia's defense industry.
Burning at Shtishkola. It burns terribly. What is it, I wonder? The fire is very high. From the worker settlement, you can see a strong smoke gun. It's just terrible. What is it, I wonder? Who knows, guys?
The US will be ready to help with security in Ukraine if a peace deal is signed. Donald Trump said this earlier. He didn't explain what exactly he meant by this kind of help.
Mr. President, just briefly, you made a commitment to the Europeans back in July, if I remember right, to participate in some kind of a peacekeeping force should there be a peace agreement. You mentioned, I think, air support, intelligence, and so forth. Does that commitment still stand? Is the U.S. ready to go contribute to this?
Well, the security agreement, basically, that they call it, the security agreement. Yeah, we would help. We would help with security because it's, I think, a necessary factor in getting it done. I thought that we were very close with Russia to having a deal. I thought we were very close with Ukraine to having a deal. In fact, other than President Zelenskyy, his people loved the concept of the deal. You know, we threw something out.
This is the 4-part deal.
Well, there's 4 or 5 different parts. It's, you know, a little bit complicated because you're cutting up land in a certain way. It's not the easiest thing. It's sort of like a complex real estate deal times 1,000, right? But it's a deal that would have stopped the killing of thousands of lives every month, thousands and thousands of lives, mostly soldiers, but as you know, there's some bombs
Are you
being
headed to sort of a Korea-like ceasefire where you don't resolve?
Well, there's a meeting on Saturday. We'll see whether or not we attend the meeting. We said we'll attend the meeting if we think there's a good chance of they want me to attend, they want us to attend. And we'll be attending the meeting on Saturday in Europe if we think there's a good chance. And we don't want to waste a lot of time. We think it's negative. We want it to get settled. We want to save a lot of lives. As you know, in the past we spent could be $350 billion giving it to Ukraine. We got nothing in return, but we gave it to Ukraine. I ended up getting rare earth in return, even though I didn't spend money. And we are now selling weapons to NATO. We're not selling it to Ukraine. We're selling weapons at full price to NATO, as you know. They distribute those weapons probably to Ukraine for the most part. They're probably doing it to others also, but we're not involved in the war other than the fact that we are involved in a negotiation because people want us there. Ukraine wants us involved very much. Europe wants us involved. I have a great relationship with the countries of Europe. As you know, I took GDP. I took what they're spending as a percentage of GDP, but it was at 2 and they weren't paying, and now it's at 5, and everybody's amazed. But that 5% is a lot of it's coming back to the United States. With that being said, I'd like to see the killing stop. 25,000 people died last month, soldiers, mostly soldiers, but some people also where bombs were dropped. But for the most part, 25,000 soldiers died last month. I would love to see it stop. And we're working very hard. It doesn't really affect the United States unless it got out of control.
Trump said that the only person who supposedly doesn't like the so-called US peace plan is Zelenskyy. Meanwhile, Russia claims it has not seen any new revised peace plan.
These contacts with the Americans?
I don't know.
But for now?
No, for now, after all these working negotiations with Europe and Ukraine, we were supposed to be shown a paper or papers, and we should see what happened to them, to these papers after these contacts. Now there will be an active brainstorming session about the upcoming news. See. But we have not seen a corrected version of the American projects. When we see, we may not like many things, I feel so.
Slovakia will block the reparations loan for Ukraine. This was stated by Robert Fico. Slovakia, Hungary and Belgium are against the reparations loan for Ukraine. EU member states are expected to make a decision on this issue on December 18.
Mr. President of the European Council, dear Antonio, I would like to take this opportunity to address the recent proposals of the European Commission to meet Ukraine's financial needs for 26-27 years, including the use of frozen Russian assets. I have been expressing my positions on the military conflict in Ukraine for a long time and unequivocally. There is no military solution to this conflict. The European Union's strategy on the conflict is wrong and ineffective, and the continuation of the war is just senseless killing without strengthening Ukraine's position in the event of peace negotiations. That is why I have repeatedly expressed my strong support for all peace initiatives in these weeks, especially President Donald Trump's efforts to end unnecessary bloodshed. Mr. President, without commenting on the advantages, disadvantages, or risks of the individual solutions proposed by the European Commission, I am in a very clear position to support any solution to Ukraine's financial needs at the forthcoming European Council, which would include covering Ukraine's military expenditure for the coming years. I'm not looking for any excuses, neither financial nor legal. I am not making excuses for the risks associated with the use of frozen Russian assets, nor for the fact that Slovakia's current difficult financial situation does not allow us to participate in the European Commission's plans to financially cover Ukraine's military expenses. The policy of peace, which I have consistently pursued, prevents me from voting in favor of prolonging the military conflict, because providing tens of billions of euros for military expenditure is prolonging the war. not to mention the fact that the use of frozen Russian assets may directly jeopardize American peace efforts, which directly envisage the use of these resources to rebuild Ukraine. Mr. President, you will remember that I spoke openly about this risk at our informal meeting in Angola. And not to mention what information we share together about corruption scandals in Ukraine. Mr. President, the Slovak government is a solid and solidarity-based player. In the humanitarian field, we are helping Ukraine in many areas. We supply them with electricity, even gas through reverse flows, although it was the Ukrainian political leadership that significantly damaged us financially by deciding to stop the transit of gas through the territory of Ukraine. We are working on a new energy connection, a direct train connection, and repairs of border crossings. We have almost 200,000 Ukrainian citizens on our territory who have fled the war. We are organizing joint meetings of governments, sending humanitarian aid, and we are ready to continue in this way at the bilateral level. We are supporters of Ukraine's accession to the European Union, although you yourself have to admit that among the member states of the Union there are those that, on the one hand, support the war, but on the other hand, are increasingly raising serious reservations about Ukraine's early membership in the European Union. Mr. President, dear Antonio, I take note of your statement from Angola that the European Council may take a long time. By formulating these clear positions, I want to rule out any misunderstanding or unjustified expectation that the length of the meeting in Brussels may change my position. I cannot and will not support under any pressure any solution to support Ukraine's military spending, in which the Slovak Republic should participate. At the same time, I respect the sovereign right of each member state of the European Union to adopt a different solution on a voluntary basis. Yours sincerely, Robert Fico. This is the position that I will represent at the European Council.
Russia continues to use its frozen assets as a political tool, claiming everywhere that these assets were stolen from Russia. At the same time, Europe is taking too long to decide what to do with them. Is it fair to give this money to Ukraine, a country Russia has destroyed, or should Ukrainians be left alone to deal with the damage caused by Russia?
Well, look, quickly noted that in general, relations are developing very well in all areas. In general, there are some questions, but there are no significant problems. It is the multifaceted and diversified nature of our relations, especially in the trade and economic sphere, that makes it possible to cope with difficulties in the international arena and pressure from third countries. There are a lot of big projects ahead. First of all, this is, of course, the continuation of the construction of nuclear power plants. The Turkish side is waiting for the timely commissioning of the station. This is very important. But Rosatom, as the world's largest company, which has built the largest number of units around the world, here, it is capable of doing this job. And there was also a thorough exchange on Ukrainian affairs, on regional affairs, on international affairs. We exchanged views on the aspirations of the Europeans to arrange a grandiose scam with Russian assets. The President gave a corresponding, well-known assessment. And in general, of course, the parties agreed that such rash actions on the part of the Europeans will actually go to the breakdown, the Bretton Woods system and all the foundations and principles of the international financial system. This, of course, was given sufficient attention. Well, now a long conversation continues in a very narrow format, about which I cannot say anything yet.
Dear viewers, thank you for watching this video. Press the button like under this video and leave your comments. I am very thankful for your activity. See you soon.